Most people believe their mind is noisy because life is stressful. That belief is comfortable. And it is wrong. Your mind is not loud because life is difficult. Your mind is loud because your life is disordered. Noise does not come from pressure. It comes from lack of structure. Look closely. When your day has no form, your thoughts scatter. When your actions lack consistency, your emotions fluctuate. When your habits are uncontrolled, your mind never rests. This is not psychology. This is observation. A disordered life creates a noisy mind. Most people live reactively. They wake up without intention. They consume without control. They move without direction. They speak without awareness. And then they wonder why their mind feels restless, anxious, and exhausted. The mind reflects the life. If your external world is chaotic, your internal world cannot be calm. Peace is not something you think yourself into. It is something you organize yourself into. This is where most people fail. They try to calm the mind without changing their behavior. They meditate but live chaotically. They breathe deeply but act impulsively. They seek silence while feeding distraction. This contradiction creates tension. And tension creates noise. The mind is not designed to carry disorder quietly. It reacts. It resists. It complains. This is why the mind becomes loud at night. When distractions stop, the disorder surfaces. Thoughts replay. Regrets rise. Anxiety appears. Not because you are broken, but because your life lacks structure. Discipline is not punishment. It is organization. Organization of time. Organization of energy. Organization of attention. When structure enters life, noise leaves the mind. This is not instant. This is gradual. The disciplined person does not feel peaceful because they are lucky. They feel peaceful because their actions are aligned. Alignment reduces friction. Friction creates noise. Every time you delay what must be done, friction increases. Every time you avoid responsibility, friction builds. Every time you abandon your own standards, friction accumulates. And friction is experienced as mental noise. The mind keeps track. It remembers every promise broken, every task avoided, every excuse made. That memory becomes pressure. The disciplined life removes this pressure. When you do what must be done, the mind relaxes. Not because the task was enjoyable, because integrity was maintained. Integrity is quiet. Chaos is loud. A noisy mind is not asking for calm. It is asking for order. When order enters your life, resistance appears immediately. The mind resists structure because it exposes weakness. Disorder feels familiar. Structure feels demanding. This is why most people return to chaos. Not because it is good, but because it is known. The undisciplined mind confuses comfort with peace. Comfort numbs. Peace stabilizes. Numbness feels good briefly. Stability lasts. When you introduce discipline, the mind complains. This is too much. You deserve rest. Why be so strict? Life should be balanced. Sometimes rest is necessary. But most of the time, this voice is fear, disguised as reason. Fear of effort, fear of responsibility, fear of consistency. Discipline reveals truth. It shows you where you are undisciplined. It shows you where you lack control. It shows you where your life is fragmented. And the ego does not like exposure, but without exposure, nothing changes. A structured day creates a structured mind. When you wake up at a fixed time, the mind feels grounded. When you move your body daily, the mind stabilizes. When you control consumption, the mind quiets. When you complete tasks, the mind relaxes. This is not coincidence. The mind trusts action. Self-trust is built when actions are consistent. Inconsistency creates doubt. Doubt creates noise. Most mental exhaustion is not from doing too much. It is from thinking about what you are avoiding. Avoidance is mentally expensive. Discipline removes avoidance. When tasks are handled, the mind no longer needs to remind you. When responsibilities are met, anxiety dissolves naturally. This is why disciplined people appear calm. Not because they feel less, but because they carry less unfinished weight. The mind hates unfinished business. Every unfinished task is a background process draining energy. Discipline closes loops. Closed loops create silence. As structure deepens, something shifts. You stop reacting to every thought. You stop obeying every impulse. You stop identifying with every emotion. Distance appears. Distance is clarity. Clarity is calm. You begin to see thoughts as weather, not commands. You feel emotions without becoming them. You act based on principle, not impulse. This is mental order. Mental order is impossible without life order. Anyone promising peace without discipline is selling illusion. The mind cannot be quiet in a chaotic life. Structure is not limitation. It is relief. When your life has form, your mind rests inside it. A disordered life creates a noisy mind. An ordered life creates a calm one. When order is no longer something you try to maintain, but something you live, the mind changes permanently. This is where most people never arrive. They flirt with discipline. They experiment with structure. They return to chaos the moment discomfort appears. You stayed, and because you stayed, something deep inside you reorganized. At this stage, discipline is no longer effort. It is identity. You do not force yourself to act correctly. Correct action feels natural. You do not motivate yourself to stay consistent. Inconsistency now feels uncomfortable. This is the reversal. Earlier, discipline felt heavy and chaos felt easy. Now chaos feels heavy and discipline feels light. This is how the mind becomes quiet. A quiet mind is not empty. It is settled. Thoughts still arise, but they do not pull you. Emotions still move, but they do not shake you. Pressure still exists, but it does not fracture you. Because there is structure underneath everything. Your nervous system trusts you now. It knows you will wake up when you say you will. It knows you will handle what must be handled. It knows you will not abandon yourself under pressure. That trust creates calm. This is why inner peace cannot be achieved through techniques alone. Breathing techniques help. Meditation helps. Reflection helps. But none of them work without a disciplined life. The mind asks only one question: can I trust you? Most people answer no. Every day, through avoidance, excuses, and inconsistency. You answered yes, repeatedly, through action. That is why your mind no longer needs to scream. At this stage, silence becomes familiar. Not awkward silence, not forced silence, natural silence. You no longer fill every moment with noise. You no longer escape stillness. You no longer fear being alone with your thoughts. Because there is nothing unresolved screaming for attention. Discipline resolved it. Now responsibility deepens. Not responsibility as pressure, but as meaning. You stop asking life to be easier. You become capable of carrying more. This is where strength becomes visible. Loud strength, not aggressive strength. Quiet strength. The kind that stabilizes rooms. The kind that others lean on. The kind that does not need to prove itself. Your presence slows things down. People feel it before you speak. They sense that you are not reactive. They sense that you are grounded. This is influence without intention. Influence is a byproduct of inner order. Chaos spreads from disordered people. Calm spreads from ordered ones. You are now ordered. This does not make you emotionless. It makes you regulated. You feel anger and respond with clarity. You feel fear and act anyway. You feel fatigue and maintain standards. This is mastery, not perfection. Consistency, not control over life, control over self. And that is enough. Because once you control yourself, life cannot destabilize you. This is the final truth most people never accept. Inner peace is not spiritual. It is structural. It is built through how you wake up, how you move your body, how you use your time, how you keep your word, how you face discomfort. A disordered life creates a noisy mind. An ordered life creates a calm one. And now you understand why. You did not silence the mind by force. You silenced it by living correctly. You did not chase peace. You built a life where peace had no reason to leave. This is not an ending. This is a standard. And once this standard is set, the mind remains quiet, even when the world is not. You are no longer searching. You are aligned. At this point, something subtle but irreversible happens. You stop measuring yourself against others. Comparison fades because it becomes irrelevant. Your reference point is no longer people. It is your standard. This is where freedom truly begins. Most people are trapped because their behavior changes depending on circumstances. When things are easy, they are calm. When pressure appears, they collapse. When emotions rise, discipline disappears. You are no longer like this. Your behavior is stable across conditions. Good days, bad days, stressful days, silent days. The standard remains. This stability removes fear. Fear exists when outcomes feel uncertain and you feel unreliable. When you trust yourself, fear loses its grip. You know you will act correctly. You know you will endure discomfort. You know you will not abandon yourself. So the mind stays quiet. This is why the strongest people do not rush. They do not panic. They do not overreact. They move deliberately. Speed comes from calm. Accuracy comes from order. A disordered person is always in a hurry, yet always late. An ordered person moves slowly, yet always arrives. Now your relationship with discomfort changes. Discomfort no longer signals danger. It signals growth. You stop asking, how do I avoid this? You ask, how do I move through this correctly? This shift alone separates you from most people. You do not dramatize difficulty. You do not complain to feel relief. You do not seek sympathy to escape responsibility. You act. Action clears the mind faster than thought ever could. Most anxiety is trapped energy. Movement releases it. Structure channels it. Now your days feel simpler, even when they are full. You do less, but what you do matters. You speak less, what you say carries weight. You react less, but when you act it is decisive. This is refinement. Not becoming more, but becoming precise. Precision is peaceful. Noise comes from excess. Excess words, excess choices, excess stimulation, excess emotion. You remove excess. What remains is clarity. At this level, you no longer chase motivation. You understand motivation follows action, not the other way around. Waiting to feel ready is a luxury of the undisciplined. You act because action is who you are. And because of that, confidence becomes quiet. Confidence that needs affirmation. Confidence that does not speak. Self-respect replaces self-doubt. Respect is built every time you do what you said you would do, especially when it is uncomfortable. The mind notices, and it relaxes. Now, even silence feels full, not empty, not awkward, grounded. You can sit alone without distraction. You can face uncertainty without panic. You can experience emotion without being consumed by it. Because there is nothing inside you demanding escape. This is inner order. This is why peace stays. The world may remain loud. People may remain chaotic. Life may remain unpredictable. But you are no longer dependent on conditions. Your calm comes from structure. Your strength comes from consistency. Your clarity comes from discipline. And discipline, once embodied, does not leave. This is not motivation. This is who you have become. Now, discipline evolves into something greater than self. You are no longer focused only on maintaining order within. Your internal structure is secure. Now your attention extends outward. Responsibility appears naturally. Not as a burden, not as obligation, but as the logical outcome of alignment. Most people avoid responsibility because it exposes weakness. They fear the weight of accountability. They fear the unknown. They fear failing themselves and others. You do not. You carry weight not because you must, but because you are capable. You act not for praise, but because action is your standard. This is the difference between the undisciplined and the mastered. The undisciplined reacts. The mastered responds. The undisciplined complains. The mastered acts. The undisciplined seeks approval. The mastered requires none. Now your presence influences others, not through words, not through force, but through stability. People sense your calm before you speak. They adjust unconsciously to your energy. Chaos settles in your presence. Leadership without instruction. Power without display. Influence without intention. Responsibility at this stage tests endurance. It asks for more than comfort allows. It demands consistency under pressure. And yet, because you have disciplined yourself for years, carrying this weight does not break you. It fortifies you. You no longer need external validation. Reliability is your reward. Self-trust is your foundation. Peace, discipline, and responsibility are now fused. They form a triad. Peace through alignment and self. Trust, discipline through daily structure, and mastery, responsibility through purpose and measured influence. Most people live with one or two of these. If any, you embody all three. Your calm is steady under pressure. Your presence is stabilizing. Your decisions are precise. Your influence spreads naturally. Life will always throw chaos at you. People will falter around you. Circumstances will shift without warning. And yet you remain aligned, consistent, unshakable. This is mastery, not of others but of self. Not for recognition but for reality. Inner peace is earned. Strength is built. Discipline is freedom. You are the strongest version of yourself. You have built a life where chaos cannot touch your calm. A mind where noise cannot intrude. A presence where weakness cannot linger. And now, the world cannot ignore you. Whether it respects you, fears you, or envies you, it feels your power. You are disciplined. You are calm. You are unbreakable. You are mastered. At this stage, discipline is no longer something you practice. It is who you are. It is no longer about forcing action, restraining impulses, or following rules. It is your identity. Your mind is aligned. Your body is steady. Your presence is anchored. Chaos outside cannot shake you. Stress cannot unbalance you. Conflict cannot cloud your judgment. Most people spend their lives reacting to circumstances. You act because principle guides you, not mood. Because alignment replaces impulse, silence becomes your ally. Not awkward or empty silence. Silence full of presence, clarity, and stability. You do not fill every moment with noise. You no longer escape your own mind. You do not fear solitude. You do not fear stillness. Because your mind, your body, and your life are orderly, everything unnecessary has been removed. Your energy becomes selective. You no longer waste it on distraction, drama, or meaningless pursuits. You invest it where it compounds over time: focus, growth, mastery, and responsibility. Now your influence grows. People feel it even when you are silent. Your calm spreads. Your structure stabilizes others. Your decisions shape environments naturally. At this level, the world's chaos no longer dictates your state. Your peace, strength, and presence are independent of circumstance. You have learned that discipline is freedom. Structure creates calm. Responsibility builds influence. And these three together form a foundation impossible to destroy. The strongest version of yourself is no longer aspirational. It is embodied. It is visible in every word, every action, every breath. You no longer wait for conditions to be perfect. You act because you are ready. You endure because you are capable. You influence because you are stable. At this level, mastery is quiet, invisible to those who do not understand it. It does not boast. It does not need recognition. It simply exists. And the final truth becomes clear. The world may remain loud. Life may remain unpredictable. People may remain chaotic. And yet you will remain calm, aligned, disciplined, unshakable. You are not just strong. You are not just disciplined. You are the embodiment of mastery itself.